Monday morning, everybody. How we doing? It's me. I'm here. It's the weekend's over, but you know what? Monday's always a beautiful day, because it is. You know what? Every day that I am breathing, I am happy to be here. Anyway, it's today's February 1st on my calendar, I have this calendar on my phone that's an Android phone. And when I looked at it the other day, I was looking at it and I'm like, wait, there's something on February 1st. I looked at it closer. I'm like, it says on my phone, first day of Black History Month. And I was like, oh, I don't remember adding that. I mean, fine. It is known as Black History Month, although I prefer to call it American History Month because, we're talking about American history, right? We're not talking about African history or, London history and shit. It's mostly American history. And so I just say it's American history. And so, although this month it features people of similar descent to mine, and that's how it is. So happy first day of American History Month or whatever you want to call it. And in fact, I am going to feature a story at the end of this of just people you probably never heard of, because I had never heard of them, but great Americans who just happen to have similar ancestry than me. But anyway, so that, and I got a whole ton of news. Gunfox has been busy over in the Discord, and what's the guy's name? JJ Sefton over at the Ace of Spades with my normal big old aggregate list. And I pulled a bunch of stories, and we'll see how much we get through, and we'll just have another Monday. But anyway, before I do that, I got to play the intro, so I'll be back in 1 minute. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Monday, the 1st of February, 2021, and I am ecstatic that you've joined me today, as many of you do often. Like I said, it's the beginning of American History Month. I bet, I wonder, it's like, I bet kids learn more history. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. See, I'm one of those people, when I was young, I was one of very few black kids in my elementary school. Now, once I got to junior high and high school, that was completely different. There was busing, and then I went to a school that was in the city, even though I lived out in the suburbs, sort of. And so, but elementary school, I was one of a few black kids. So anytime they started talking about anything about slavery and shit, and then everyone all look at me, and I'm like, hey, I was never a slave. Shut the fuck up. Don't look at me. So it was interesting, but you know what? That's not my focus today. It's just not, because there's tons of news, and I'd prefer to talk about freedom. Oh, what's that song? I won't let you down. Please don't give it up. That George Michael song, Freedom 90. That was a cool song. That was probably his best work. What made me think of that just now, I don't know. But before I get into the show, I got to say good morning to everybody, because that's what we do here at the Morning Night Live. So let's just scroll up and say hello to Keenan, who was first and gets the bell. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning to Tom Rich, a.k.a. Richo, our friend from down under. Also, good morning to RVA Dar, Chadwick Dupree, Maddie, Septis, Wolf, Mike Savage, Blarg. Attack Alpaca's in the house. X Bubba Hotep. How you doing? As I scroll a little more, Hig is here, and I'm sure Cindy's somewhere nearby. Good morning, Samnambune. Every damn time, Somnambule Nation. Good morning. I like this tune too. Oh, oh, you're talking about my my preview music. Okay. Well, I just have it. I'm in the middle of making a new preview video. I'm working on that, and then I also have a new video for my second, well, one of my other channels, the Marty's Big Journey channel, which I haven't posted on for 2 years. But I'm starting to edit all the different travel videos that I'm going to be doing on that channel. Also, good morning to James PFP. Select a boy. Yeah, boy. Let's see. As I scroll a little longer, who else is here? Why are you so angry? Is in the house. Yes, that's the name. I'm asking why are you so angry? Yet it's an angry bargy world so relevant. Okay, I don't know what that means. Argy bargy. An argy bargy world so relevant. Okay, I gotcha. Also, good morning to who haven't I seen yet here? Jesse Leon's in the house. Tyler F. How you doing? Zach Osborne, what's up? Midnight in Exile, hello. And I think I'm getting there. Jonathan Peterson, what's up? Good morning. Kevin S., nice to see you back. And the chat jumped. Oh, and Sean is in the house. Nice to see you. Sapphire Dragon. And I think that, and Joe Biden's in the house.
Come on, man.
Also known as Uncle Bad Touch. Also, good morning to Maniac Man, Cultist 4. I think that's everybody. That's everybody for now. And this is Kyle is in the house. Good morning, Kyle. Thank you for the first donation of the day. And of course, I didn't reset the donation ticker, but Kyle,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Whether it says it up top or not, you are. And I had, by the way, last night, and Zabla is in the house. Hello, Zabla. What's happening? And Anna Lynn, how you doing? Jedi Ghost Bear. Oh, people are just rolling in. I think I said, yeah, Sapphire Dragon was already here. So, last night, normally because I have to be at work at 2 a.m, I usually go to bed fairly early. But last night, instead of going to bed early, I went on whose channel? Jack Gunsky's channel, also known as I can't remember the name. It's Quip or something. Anyway, I went on their I was invited to go on the channel and play some games, and I had a really good time. Kyle was there, Cynical Lindsay was there. Who else was there? Sheograth was there. I'm blanking out on all who was there, but it was a good time. And if you go on Jack Gunsky's channel, you can, if you want to watch the replay of us being silly, it was a lot of fun. Good morning, Chicago Mike. Not HD. No, I was not on HD last night. No, not HD. I'm not sure what that means. Also, Teresa the Kid, what's up? I think I got everybody. All right, let's get into news now. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about first is just stuff that's kind of maybe from late Friday or into the weekend. But this is interesting because someone has been arrested basically for a meme. It's kind of crazy. Now I got a couple different articles about it too. There used to be a guy on Twitter who went by the name of Ricky Vaughn, like the character in Major League. Terry is racist. Oh, that's right. Terry was there too. What? Terry is racist? What? What are you talking about? So anyway, this guy who used to go as Ricky Vaughn, Biden's Department of Justice now prosecuting formerly prolific online personality Ricky Vaughn, aka Douglas Mackey, for illegal memes. This is the hammer blow to the First Amendment and blatantly political prosecution. Now, so that's just, I'll leave that article up, but here it is. The Democrats reminded us that all their pious concerns for the government overreach and the importance of civil liberties are just talk. When were out of power, we heard calls for defending the police or defunding the police. Similarly, they pilloried ICE's enforcement of immigration laws as modern-day Gestapo tactics. Donald Trump, we were warned, would usher in fascism and put people in camps. Now, Biden's Department of Justice is now prosecuting formerly prolific online personality Ricky Vaughn, a.k.a. Douglas Mackey, for illegal memes. This is a hammer blow to the First Amendment and blatantly political prosecution. So here's what happened. It was an alleged online threat. Before a recent wave of coordinated tech censorship, the online world was unruly and unregulated, and the watchword of the internet users and companies was freedom, particularly from government control. Then the election of 2016 happened. It was a wake-up call to the tech world's emerging establishment. The 2016 election's surprising outcome particularly traumatized those who thought Obama's victory foretold the permanent elevation of his politics and his style, as well as the emerging majority that brought him power. As they previously done in talk radio, the right wing has shown acumen and effectiveness on social media. Twitter was the great equalizer. Whether you were the president or a NEET in your pajamas, the accounts looked the same. The platform was soon overrun by a highly motivated army of right-leaning critics and trolls, hilarious anonymous memes, Pepe the Frog, Trump's Taco Bowl, and ultimately their collective efforts contributed to the 2016 election result. Now, before he was banned in October 2016, Ricky Vaughn had a significant following. He was funny, smart, offensive, edgy, and effective. As outlined in the indictment, a particular, obviously trolling meme is at the heart of the prosecution. According to the Department of Justice press release, quote, Mackey, i.e. Ricky Vaughn, conspired with others to use social media platforms, including Twitter, to disseminate fraudulent messages designed to encourage supporters of one of the presidential candidates, the candidate, to vote via text message or social media, a legally invalid method of voting. The government framed this prosecution as a necessary measure to punish, wait for it, voter suppression. More recently, online and right-wing voices have been tarred with supporting an insurrection for their chatter, as if organizing to hold signs and criticize opponents is the same as organizing an act of terrorism. Thus, since 2016, we heard more and more about online threats, but the only real threat they pose is to traditional media gatekeepers and their control over the narrative. If Terry is racist, then I'm a fluffer. Well, I thought you are. Okay, we had this conversation yesterday about fluffers there, Kyle. Just saying. So way back in the 1990s, the country was more united about free speech. The 1996 movie The People vs. Larry Flint explored a case arising from the obnoxious hustler publisher's distasteful satire suggesting that Flint's nemesis, the Reverend Jerry Falwell, had committed incest. Flint's challenge made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and free speech prevailed. The court opined, quote, "At the heart of the First Amendment is the recognition of the fundamental importance of the free flow of ideas and opinions on matters of public interest and concern. The freedom to speak one's mind is not only an aspect of individual liberty, and thus a good unto itself, but also is essential to the common quest for truth and the vitality of society as a whole. We have therefore been particularly vigilant to ensure that individual expression of ideas remain free from governmentally imposed sanctions." Wait, real quick. Thank you, John Arnott, with the super chat through YouTube saying, Good morning, everyone. Well, good morning to you, John Arnott. I am glad you are here, sir. Thanks for dropping in. So let me, I want to get back to Vaughn, though. So the 2016 meme war was a large, formless rebellion against the establishment by trollish, young, and otherwise powerless people. While the left has publicly and ridiculously whined about Russian interference during the Trump years, it seems they knew all along that a lot of their fellow Americans were the real problem. This is why all of Biden's talk about unity is coupled with contradictory talk of dark forces and right-wing conspiracies. Why do I have that up so loud? Holy shit, that was loud. And right-wing conspiracies. The left knows their biggest struggle and their biggest opponent are the American people, many of whom reject the system and its contradictions. These critics are encouraged and organized in the back corners of the internet where the left's control has been, until now, much less effective. Yeah, because we kind of been winning shit, right? Good morning, Renee Mann. Good morning, Ebony Williams. Good morning, you're a ridiculous lunatic. And I already said hi to John Arnott, and thank you again for the generous donation. So the statute under which Vaughn is being prosecuted, 18 U.S.C. 241, originally became law to allow the federal government to prosecute the Ku Klux Klan, which used violence and other forms of intimidation in the Reconstruction South to prevent former slaves from voting. The law says nothing about, quote, illegal memes, end quote, or even, quote, disinformation. There's a good reason for this. Every election includes citizens sharing their thoughts and characterizations of their opponents. Each side criticizes the other side, often sharply. These characterizations are based on inferences from their opponents' remarks and records refracted through competing views of the world. By way of example, Democrats said Trump was a Russian puppet and that Bush lied to get us in the Iraq War. Well, you know. Republicans said Hillary was responsible for Benghazi and that Obama was a socialist. Well, you know. The candidates and their proxies denied these charges. Lesser examples of such attacks and defenses abound that would have a massive chilling effect upon free speech if such tough talk, the normal argot of politics, were somehow subject to criminal prosecution. Now, so in fact, if you're not following this closely, so this Ricky Vaughn dude, what he did, let's see, I don't want that one. What he did is he was making a joke about, if you're a Democrat, you should, you don't even have to wait in the long lines to vote. You can just vote by text. And apparently, and look, Ricky Vaughn's Twitter base, he had to have a couple 100,000 followers on Twitter because he was a funny dude. And it's funny because he didn't get removed from Twitter until someone accused him of being alt-right. Oh no! But anyway, and apparently they're saying that like maybe about 5,000 dummies actually tried to make. I don't know if they tried to if it was. They don't even know if it was Democrats or not, or if it was his own followers that tried to vote by a text. But anyway, so in politics, there's a continuum for narrowly defined facts and value-laden opinions. Today, much of what is used to be included in the range of reasonable disagreement is now being hammered into a narrow formula where opinions out of the mainstream are sinisterly labeled disinformation and fraud when mistakes or differences of opinions would be more accurate. The left has now shown that they will criminalize dissent as Ricky Vaughn is being prosecuted for illegal memes. Hello, Sleazy. That's a new name with the lots of emojis there. Good morning. Nice to have you join the show. By the way, if you're here and you haven't subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell so you get notifications. Or you can follow me on just about any social media. If you look up at PDawgKnight, it's always me, because right now I'm still the only PDawgKnight. FYI. Okay. So the decision to prosecute a long since banned Twitter poster for his online activity in 2016 is a reminder that the left is obsessed with power and revenge in a way the right is not. Biden and his handlers showed up to the White House ready to rule. They fired Trump holdovers en masse and had dozens of executive orders ready to go. By contrast, during the Trump years, the Republicans continued to defend the FBI, even as it became clear that it had become a partisan secret police outfit investigating and ginning up fake crimes against Trump and his campaign. Trump and the Republicans were not effective in cleaning house, nor did they apply similar pressure against their own opponents. Oh, they won't make that mistake next time. Oh, I think, okay, they'll probably come in for like a whirlwind. Anyway, but the problem is Trump never fully controlled even the executive branch, let alone any of the other parts of the government. The left is powerful, in charge, and completely paranoid. Biden's talk of unity is complete bullshit. I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry. That's not what it says. Completely irreconcilable with the party's view of half of the country as racist, evil, subversive, and all the rest. The only unity they can promise is from submission and re-education. We have a special camp for you. The left appears more willing to harass and prosecute their opposition using all weapons of the state. While this is all worrisome, compromise and moderation are false hopes, as evidenced by the second impeachment of now ex-President Trump, the ridiculous overreaction to the January 6th protest, and now the persecution of obscure political opponents for illegal memes. America's tradition of freedom are now in serious jeopardy from the political left, and the fight is winner take all. All right, so yeah, they're they're literally prosecuting the guy for illegal memes. Great. All right. Now, some of you may have heard of this outfit called the Lincoln Project. It's just, yeah. Well, apparently, one of their co-founders has a little bit of a. How can I phrase this in a YouTube friendly way? I'm not really sure. He has I wouldn't say it's not the young ones type thing, that people talk about. What's a way to put this? Let's just put it this way. He was sending, kind of like, here's a way to put it. I figured it out. He has a bit of a spacey problem. Not the youth, Salmon Bull Nation, not the youth necessarily, although some were young. More of a, like I said, a Kevin Spacey thing, where he was just making suggestions. I mean, some were far younger than him, obviously. Anyway, Never Trump Project founder John Weaver accused of sending provocative messages to young men. John Weaver, co-founder of the Lincoln Project, has been accused of sending explicit messages to nearly a dozen young men, offering them career advice and jobs in exchange for sexual favors. Oh, man. Couldn't happen to a nicer group of people. Anyway, Weaver, who formerly worked with the late Senator John McCain and former Ohio Governor John Kasich, was accused by 21 men of sending unwanted messages. One who stated that he began receiving messages when he was 14 years old. Okay, maybe there is an issue with the younger sorts. According to the Times, Weaver told one young man that he would spoil you when we see each other and help you other times, give advice, counsel, help with bills. You help me sensually. Ew. More like ew. Anyway, The Lincoln Project, an anti-Trump Republican group, insists it was unaware of the allegations until it started circulating the news. Oh, well, we'll see about that. I think they know a little more than they're saying anyway. Quote, there was no awareness or insinuations of any type of inappropriate behavior when we became aware of the chatter at the time, co-founder Steve Schmidt told The Times. And then the group released a statement on the matter calling Weaver a predator, a liar, and an abuser. You know what's funny, though? When it first came out, that's not what they were saying. They were actually, first they started defending him. Then they tried to pull the reason I can compare this to Kevin Spacey, because he got Weaver, or the Lincoln Project guys kind of pulled the same bullshit. Just trying to deflect, well, yes, he's a gay man and he had was conflicted because his wife and children, yada, 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 but he's a gay man. Until the people who were accusing him started giving details, and then they're just like, oh shit, we gotta have some denial. Good morning, Robert Shaw. Good morning, Bastard Beast. How you doing? So anyway, according to a tweet from political consultant Ryan James Godusky, the conservative activist who first broke the story, the group's statement is an absolute lie, telling his followers the group knew about the allegations and that he was crafting a story on the matter. Here he says this statement, members did know. Young men approached them about the accusations. I knew I was writing the story and warned John Weaver. Oh, did they now? Outline unanswered attempts made by young men to reach out to the group. Godusky noted that Molly Zhang Fast, bitch from the Daily Beast, I hope you didn't understand what I just said, noted that Molly Zhang Fast and an advisor for the Lincoln Project had heard I had this story back in early summer. Oh, before the election? They knew before the election? Oh my gosh. Good morning, Advocatus Diaboli. How you doing? None of the accusers wound up dead, so not quite like Spacey. Okay, very, very good point, Advocatus Diaboli. According to mutual, so anyway, they knew in advance. So I tweet the accusation, Project Lincoln, silence. Victims tweet, more silence. I write my article, even more silence. Axios article, John Weaver is gay. That's all. New York Times article, oh, he's a predator now because it made it to the New York Times. So anyway, the Lincoln Project, the Lincoln Project issued a statement denouncing co-founder John Weaver as a predator, a liar, and an abuser. Here's the statement. John Weaver, what the hell? It'll take a second. Here's their statement. John Weaver led a secret life that was built on a foundation of deception at every level. He is a predator, a liar, and an abuser. We extend our deepest sympathies to those who were targeted by this deplorable and predatory behavior. We are disgusted and outraged that someone in a position of power and trust would use it for these means. Oh, you lying motherfucker. The totality of his deceptions. Oh, here, it's not even on the screen, is it? The totality of his deceptions are beyond anything any of us could have imagined. Well, at least not before July of last year, you lying shitbags. And we are absolutely shocked and sickened by it. We are shocked. We are shocked and sickened by it. Oh, we are so shocked. Like so many, we have been betrayed and deceived by John Weaver. We are grateful beyond words that at no time was John Weaver in the physical presence of any member of the Lincoln Project. You mean you weren't there getting here? You weren't there sucking his thing. Anyway, make sure you let YouTube know you're talking about the movie Predator. Yes, I had. I know it's kind of, it's hard out here for someone just trying to have a simple old YouTube channel and not saying the wrong things and get yeeted. But I appreciate your concern there, SSN. I'm just saying SN, as opposed to S&M. Anyway, so, Lincoln Project be like, oh, children, it's dinner time. Oh, that is so weird. What the fuck is that going on there? And then there's John Weaver asking for nudes. Oh my God. Anyway, okay. I see that some people aren't happy about the fact that people are fucking with the Lincoln Project. But you know what? If it were Thursday, you know what I'd be saying right now. FTG, motherfucker. FTG.
Gotcha, bitch.
Anyway, all right, let's move on because like I said, I got a lot of news to get to and tons of stuff. The only reason I am dropping this article, the tabs, I'm not going into it because we did this a few weeks ago, but I just wanted to put a little reminder. And I'm putting it in the tabs. 28 times median Democrats excused or endorsed violence committed by left-wing activists. Because, you know, we're still talking about that insurrection thing. That wasn't really an insurrection, but there was some assholes rioted and people were hurt. And a couple people, one person died from injuries from the assholes rioting. And then one person was shot by police and 3 people had health incidents that caused them to pass away, and then one officer committed suicide, and then they added the last off. They added another officer that said ended himself, and that one they haven't given a lot of details about, and I still don't quite understand what's going on with that one. But anyway, I just put that tab in as a reminder if you're going through the articles today. By the way, I got a question. How many do any of you come back and retrieve the tabs? I'm still going to continue doing that even if it's only a couple of you, but I'm curious if you've ever come back to the channel, because right after the show, I always put a list of all the stories right in the description, and I also put it on the Discord. If you've ever clicked that one tab link to get the tabs, just put a 1 in the chat, and if you haven't, put a 2. Well, it doesn't matter if you put a 2. If you've ever retrieved the stories that we used that day, and I even though whether it's 1 or 100, I'm still gonna keep doing it. All right, let's see here real quick. Oh, good morning, Highway Lineman and Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer of the Morning Night Live. And Highway Lineman, I think you're new to the show. Thanks, YouTube bastards. Didn't tell you went live. Oh, see, now I've been actually adding that live for 20 minutes. I open the show 20 minutes before it starts now, just so that people can get the notification from YouTube. But sometimes it takes a while. That's why I started doing it earlier. We'll see. I might add it even another 10 minutes or so to that. Good morning, Reese Donald. Also, honestly didn't know you could. Links and tabs. Yes, very useful. Okay, good. Some of you are using it. That's fantastic. Like I said, immediately after the show every day, I consolidate all these tabs onto one little clickable link where you can check out any of the stories that we talked about that day, plus a few that I didn't get to. And then I also put all the stories on the Discord. I put the each day's show and the tabs on Discord. Let's see. Marty, read a lot of news per day, and a lot of it gets posted on the Discord. In fact, Gunfox, that is a great segue, because now I have several stories that Gunfox posted on the Discord. There's always a lot of great stories in the Discord. Gunfox in particular posts a lot of stories, but several of you also do that. And this is more just kind of weekend catch-up news, as in not Heinz, but as in, I don't know, I have no idea what I'm trying to say here. Starting with ex-FBI lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith given probation. Good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
And also, good morning, BG. Okay. And I said hi to Thomas Cleaver. I did say, Cleaver, I said hello, and I'm going to say it again. Sometimes PDawg hates me. No, I don't. Anyway, Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who forged evidence against Carter Page, gets freaking probation and a small fine, motherfucker. Unbelievable. Former FBI lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith was sentenced to 12 months probation and 400 hours of community service Friday after pleading guilty to making a false statement in the first criminal case arising from special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russian probe. Kleinsmith in August pleaded guilty to one count of making false statements within both the jurisdiction of the executive branch and the judicial branch of the U.S. government, an offense that carries a maximum term of imprisonment of 5 years and up to $250,000. Now, here's what pisses me off about this. Why did he get such a light sentence? I think he had a $1,000 fine too. Motherfucker. Well, now maybe just maybe they're trying to keep people out of jail because of COVID or some bullshit like that. But they should have fined his ass. They should have made an example. Law enforcement should have the highest scrutiny on them, not the lowest. But the judge kind of had a bullshit reason for giving such a light sentence. U.S. District Judge for the District of Columbia, James Boasberg, on Friday during Kleinsmith's sentencing hearing, said Kleinsmith had suffered by losing his job and standing in the eye of a media hurricane. Boasberg gave him 12 months probation, 400 hours of community service, and no fine. Fuck. Here's Boasberg's. Listen to this. Government prosecutors have been asking for Kleinsmith to spend several months in jail, but Kleinsmith's defense had been advocating for probation only. He lost his job, and his government service is what he has given as much of his life, which is what has given his life meaning. He was also earning $150,000 a year, and who knows where the earnings go now. Well, I hope fucking he doesn't. He should not get hired, but he will. He'll get hired by some fucking think tank or some bullshit. And the Bose. Oh my God. He may be disbarred or suspended from the practice of law. Good. He should be. You may never be able to work in the national security field again. Good. These are substantial penalties. Jail would be better. Boasberg added, what is more, he went from being an obscure career government lawyer to standing in the eye of a media hurricane. He has been threatened, vilified, and abused on a nationwide scale. Okay, fantastic. I wish he should have a cellmate named Bubba too, but that's and I'm not implying anything by that. Good morning, Gamer Valine. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you. Okay, let's anyway, you can read the rest of that bullshit later because there's a whole bunch of more headlines to get to. Okay, 2 Pennsylvania women. Now, because Gun Fox is from Pennsylvania, he gets news from Pennsylvania, but this is relevant news to the rest of us too. 2 Pennsylvania women arrested in connection with U.S. Capitol siege. I wonder what okay. The FBI arrested 2 Pennsylvania women in connection with the siege. Well, at least they're not, they fucking used the word insurrection again. The siege of the U.S. Capitol, according to an affidavit from the Department of Justice. Dawn Bancroft and Diane Santos Smith were arrested Friday in relation to the insurrection at the Capitol while Congress was in session to certify the win of President Joe Biden on January 6th. Bancroft is the owner of a gym on East Easton Road and Plumstead Township, according to a report in the Intelligencer newspaper in Doylestown. According to the criminal complaint, on or about January 12th, the FBI received a tip with a video believed to be filmed by Bancroft. The video depicted Bancroft and Santos Smith in the process of attempting to exit the U.S. Capitol. During the video, Bancroft allegedly stated, "We were looking for Nancy to shoot her in the frickin' brain, but we didn't find her." Wow. I wonder if they were serious about that. I wonder if they literally were looking for Nancy to shoot her in the friggin' brain in Minecraft. Anyway, a week or so later, the FBI interviewed Santos Smith, who initially told agents that she attended President Trump's Washington, D.C. rally, but she did not physically enter the Capitol building. After investigating agents showed Santos Smith the video, Santos Smith stated that she lied and that she was inside the Capitol, according to the criminal complaint. So she can they'll probably put her away for 10, 12 years, even though she didn't, she did lie to the FBI, but who knows? Anyway. That should be some misdemeanor shit if she didn't do anything. You know, most of the people who actually went into the building probably just went in to take pictures and selfies. In fact, they had remember that picture of them, you know, the insurrection that was walking between the ropes? They weren't like trying to paint graffiti on the artwork or the statues or anything. They're just all going in orderly for the most part. Those are the people after the assholes broke in. But anyway, good luck to her. I'm guessing she'll get 5 years, or well, maybe she'll get a year probation and 400 hours community service like Kevin Kleinsmith. Moving on, the Pentagon halts a plan to. You heard about? Remember they're going to give the Gitmo prisoners COVID-19 vaccines before. Regular Americans. Anyway, Pentagon halts a plan to offer halts a plan to offer COVID-19 vaccinations to Gitmo detainees amid backlash. Yeah, imagine having a backlash for that. In fact, I'm just even curious. Do they have COVID at Gitmo? I'm just wondering how COVID made it to Gitmo, but I guess it's made it to every other corner of the earth. The Pentagon on Saturday announced that it was pausing a plan to give COVID-19 vaccinations at Guantanamo Bay after accusations from Republicans and 9/11 survivors. Yes, this is Republicans' fault. That it was prioritizing terrorist subjects over Americans. Well, are they gonna now? I could see the petty ass Democrats saying, "Well, we're gonna halt any vaccinations to anyone who is at the Capitol insurrection." No Guantanamo detainees have been vaccinated. Defense Department Press Secretary John Kirby tweeted, "We're pausing the plan to move forward as we review force protection protocols. We remain committed to our obligations to keep our troops safe." Well, how did prisoners in Guantanamo get COVID anyway? Because they haven't. Anyway. Okay, that's enough of that article. You get the gist. Moving on. Also, Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine now is being recommended for pregnant women. The WHO says in a guidance reversal, World Health Organization on Friday reversed its guidance on pregnant women receiving the coronavirus vaccine created by Moderna, now saying it recommends the jab for expectant persons. Listen to the language. What news outlet is this? That's what the WHO says. Did you hear that? I'm going to read that again. World Health Organization on Friday reversed its guidance on pregnant women. Oh, at least they say women the first time. On pregnant women. I can't believe they said pregnant women. Women aren't the only people who can get pregnant. Anyway, pregnant women receiving the coronavirus vaccine created by Moderna now saying it recommends the jab for expectant persons. I think they did some, what do you call, when you kind of have mixed, not mixed pronouns, but, mixed mixed genderization in that sentence? Anyway, while pregnancy puts women at higher risk of severe COVID-19, very little data are available to assess vaccine safety in pregnancy. Anyway, if you want to hear more about that, that'll be in the tabs too. Moving on. Let's see. Oh, apparently Kamala Harris's niece is also having well, it's not necessarily causing problems, but the eyebrows are raised. Let's put it that way. The sad thing is that the black people actually have to do a long-standing Illuminati target on them, and lots of complaints. But to keep those concerns from being addressed, they balkanize. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, good morning, Kyra Alexander, by the way. I was just reading your chat there. So apparently Mina, her name is Mina, 36, flew to inauguration on the private plane of a Biden donor and posted about her trip on Instagram stories. Mina Harris, the industrious and outspoken niece of Vice President Kamala Harris, is creating an optics issue for the White House. Oh, just another person, what do you call it? Profiting off the name of a political relative? I don't know. Anyway, Mina, 36, flew to the inauguration on the private plane of a Biden inaugural donor and posted about the trip on her Instagram stories. The Stanford and Harvard law graduate has a children's book about her aunt and mother that's number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list, Kamala and Maya's Big Ideas. Wow. Now, granted, she did write this book before Kamala was even, going to be it wasn't even on the thought list for the Freudian slip, the thought list for the vice president. Anyway, the book was published in June 2020 before Kamala was vice president, thus breaks no laws. But White House officials told Politico the book couldn't have been published today because it uses Kamala's name and likeness. It's unclear whether Mina is allowed to continue to draw royalties from the book, and she won't say if it still is. And after members of President Biden's family appeared to profit his political sway during his years as senator and vice president, appeared to profit. What the hell are you talking about? Oh my God. One of his brothers is still using that connection to whatever. Anyway, after members of President Biden's family appeared to profit off his political sway during his years as senator and vice president, the White House has tried to distance itself from any further ethical violations. It's the White House policy that the president's name should not be used in connection with any commercial activities to suggest or in any way that could reasonably be understood to imply his endorsement or support, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Friday. But she's going to circle back on this one because they're not really sure if, Mina should be keeping any other profits from the book beyond now that, Kamala Harris is the vice president. And it just goes into more stuff about shit the families may have profit off of. Anyway, Mina's kind of a fine individual, though, isn't she? I mean, I don't know if that's just makeup or whatnot, but she's all right. Milwaukee, let's see, screenshot the DNCC's live stream of the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Mina Harris, niece of Kamala Harris, addressed the virtual convention. Yeah, she's all right. Anyway, let's keep going here. Dodger Stadium's COVID-19 vaccination site temporarily shut down after protesters gather at the entrance. This is not good, but listen to how they frame this. Dodger Stadium mass COVID-19 vaccination site was temporarily shut down Saturday afternoon when about 50 protesters gathered at the entrance, frustrating hundreds of motorists who had been waiting in line for hours. 50 people? 50 people shut it down? And did they have police anyway, listen to how this is framed. The Los Angeles Fire Department closed the entrance to the stadium, one of the largest vaccination sites in the country, for about an hour starting just before 2 p.m. as a precaution. officials said. Several LAPD officers also responded to the scene. A spokeswoman for the department said no arrests were made. So it was shut down for an hour. It wasn't shut down completely. Anyway, Andrea Garcia, spokesman for the Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, said that despite the 55-minute interruption, no appointments were canceled. We remain committed to vaccinating Angelenos as quickly and safely as possible. The demonstrators included members of anti-vaccine and far-right groups. Uh-oh, what happened there? Did I click something wrong? There we go. Go back to where it was, though. Anyway, far-right groups. While some carried signs decrying the COVID-19 vaccine and shouting for people not to get the shots, there were no incidents of violence. This is completely wrong, said German Yaquez, who drove from his home in La Verne and had been waiting an hour for his vaccination when the stadium gates were closed. He said some of the protesters were telling people in line that the coronavirus was not real and the vaccination was dangerous. This is the wrong message. I've been waiting for weeks to get an appointment. I am a dentist. All I could see is the little elf in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer talking about how he wants to be a dentist. That's all I can see when I read that sentence. Anyway, he's risking being around patients and wants his patients to be safe and his family to be safe. Anyway, yeah, and it's a lot longer article, but I just like the fact that it's anti-vaccine and far-right groups. All right, let's move on. Here's a shocker. Hospital boards and donors get COVID shots. But of course, while millions of Americans wait for the COVID-19 vaccine, hospital board members, their trustees, and donors around the country have gotten early access to the scarce drug or offers for vaccinations, raising complaints about favoritism, tainting decisions about who gets inoculated and when. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at dentists. I'm laughing that the guy said, I am a dentist. And all I could think of was the little, like I said, the Santa's elf guy that, who I want to be a dentist. Anyway, I'm not making fun of it. Dentists are fantastic. My teeth are taken care of very well by my dentist, and I appreciate them. On this one, and then raising complaints about favoritism, tainting decisions about who gets inoculated and when. In Rhode Island, Attorney General Peter Nerona opened an inquiry after reports that 2 hospital systems offered their board members vaccinations. A Seattle area hospital system was rebuked by Washington Governor J. Inslee after it offered COVID-19 vaccination appointments to major donors. And in Kansas, members of a hospital board received vaccinations during the first phase of the state's rollout, which was intended for people at greater risk for infection. Well, look, I got to imagine that a lot of hospital board members are older folks and are at risk for infection, but who knows? Anyway, does this surprise anybody that, rich people who donate money get special privileges? I'm sorry. Lindsay, how you doing? Nice to see you. I just noticed you were here. Hello. Okay. In the House of Representatives, Democrats are seeking to make guns illegal for lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Apparently, Lori Boebert has been getting under their skin a little bit. A pair of House Democrats are pushing a bill that would make it illegal for lawmakers to carry a gun anywhere on Capitol Hill. Representatives Jared Huffman, California, and Jackie Speier, California, they're both from California, introduced the No Congressional Gun Loophole Act on December 28, 2020, and reintroduced it in the new session of Congress last week. Okay, wait a minute. The No Congressional Gun Loophole Act. Huh. Is this the Congress people should give up their Civil Rights Act? I could rename that pretty easy. Anyway, here it goes. As a survivor of gun violence, I know what it's like to be shot and left for dead. Stats show accidents happen when there are firearms around. The exemption for U.S. representatives increased the risk for members, staff, and the public, Spire wrote on Twitter on January 29th. I'm trying to figure out, as a survivor of gun violence, does anybody anyone know who Jackie Spire is and what gun violence she survived? I'm just curious. Because she says, as a survivor of gun violence. I hope she's not talking about the January 6th insurrection. I don't know. I do not know. Little Shop of Horrors, don't be a dentist. That's a good one. Anyone know about Jackie Spire at all? What gun violence she supposedly has survived? Anyway, firearms are banned in Capitol grounds and premises, but an exception has been in place for lawmakers since 1967, according to The Hill. So this is not new with Lauren Boebert. The exception has been in place since 1967. This exception, according to The Hill, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have taken advantage of the carve-out for years with no incident. So they've had this is since 1967. This has been something that they've been able to do, and never a single incident. But no, see, they're all afraid of Lori Boebert, that little 5'1" woman representative. I'm sorry, I got to be respectful. From Colorado. Anyway. But the political fallout from the breach of the Capitol on January 6th has given Democrats an opening to push for a blanket ban while casting a shadow a handful of Republicans who have made the point of taking advantage of the exception. Hey, that's, you moron. You would think that it would be even more of a reason to allow lawmakers who have gun safety training to be allowed to carry if there were another breach by these right-wing lunatics, right? Right? I'm just saying. Anyway, freshman representative. For everyone's okay. You can't have an honor system with dishonorable people. Fuck you, a bitch who died and made you boss. You can't have an honor system with dishonorable people. We now have members openly calling for violence. Okay, where? Other than Maxine Waters, where? Which members are openly calling for violence, you lying piece of crapola, and trying to bring guns on the House floor? That exception has been there since 1967. For everyone's safety, we must pass by bill with Representative Spire to get rid of members' special firearms exemption, Huffman wrote on Twitter on January 28th. Well, freshman Representative Lauren Boebert, Colorado, made headlines before being sworn into Congress because she applied for a concealed carry permit in Washington and planned to carry her firearm in D.C. And Congress Representative Madison Cawthorn, Republican North Carolina, told local media he was armed when he was being evacuated from the Capitol during the breach on January 6th. Thank you, Gamer Valine. Spire is a Jonestown survivor. Oh, okay. Well, I did not know that. Anyway, good for her, and I'm glad she made it through that. But whatever. She worked for Ryan, who died in. She worked for Ryan, who died in Jonestown. Jackie Spire was shot 5 times and left for dead during the 1978 Jonestown massacre. Okay. Jonestown, Pennsylvania. Okay, I got you. Okay, now I know what that is. Never mind. A number of Democrats now claim they fear for their safety by equating their colleagues across the aisle with rioters who breached Capitol. In the immortal words of Flo, kiss my grits. All right. Raise your hand with the one if you know that reference. A lot of you probably do. Some of you are probably too young. Anyway, media company files an antitrust lawsuit against Google and Facebook. Good. Media company that operates several West Virginia newspapers is suing Google and Facebook for threatening the extinction of local newspapers across the country by their alleged anti-competitive business practices. HD Media Company this week filed a lawsuit asking a federal court to determine whether the two Silicon Valley companies had violated antitrust laws. The lawsuit claims Google had unlawfully exercised monopoly power over the digital advertising market, which has prevented newspapers from competing in the market and losing their primary source of revenue. It also claims that Google and Facebook had unlawfully conspired to engage in anti-competitive conduct through an alleged secret deal nicknamed Jedi Blue. I should have done this. Jedi Blue. Anyway, details of the alleged agreement were first revealed when 10 states' attorney generals sued Google for multiple violations of federal and state antitrust consumer protection laws. According to the redacted version of the lawsuit filed in December, Facebook announced in 2017 that it would try a new method of selling online advertising called header bidding, which would act as a threat of competition for Google. The lawsuit suggested Facebook eventually curtailed its involvement with the project after Google gave Facebook information, speed, and other advantages in the redacted auction that Google runs for publishers, mobile app advertising inventory each month in the United States. Okay, so anyway, more details about the lawsuit, but good. I think more companies should hit them on their practice. Thank you, Gamer Vleed, by the way, for the $1.99 super chat. I did not. I think I acknowledged it. I did read it, but anyway. Yes, from Alice. Yes, Flo, the waitress from Alice. Kiss my grits. All right, let's see. How many more of these? Okay, a few more than just the news stories, and then I got a few editorials, and then we can get the F out of here. Biden's first 10 days dominated by vaccine mysteries. Joe Biden promised he'd bring a competent, tested team to run the pandemic response, set ambitious vaccination targets, and impose strict public health guidelines. His team arrived at the White House with a 200-page response plan ready to roll out, but instead, they have spent much of the time last week trying to wrap their hands around the mushrooming crisis, a process officials acknowledged has been humbling and triggered a concerted effort to temper expectations about how quickly they might get the nation back to normal. See, here's the thing. See, they came in there thinking, oh, we're the smartest people on the planet, and obviously Trump's administration is just a bunch of ragtag, bunch of dummies who don't know nothing and can't do nothing, and even though they're already pumping out 1 million vaccinations a day, we know we could do better because Joe Biden, which makes me wonder why they would have ever thought that. Anyway, after a week on the job, Biden team is still trying to locate upwards of 20 million vaccine doses that have been sent to the states, the mystery that has hampered plans to speed up the national vaccination effort. They're searching for new ways to boost production of a vaccine stockpile that they've discovered is mostly empty. Now, granted, I'm going to give him one here. This effort is kind of about how it's, there's a transition issue there a little bit. And still though, they should know where those 20 million doses are. Anyway, and they're nervously eyeing a series of new COVID-19 strains that threaten to derail the response. It's the Mike Tyson quote, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, said one person with the knowledge of the vaccine effort who's not authorized to discuss the work. They are planning, they are competent. It's just the weight of everything when you sit down in that chair. It's heavy. So here's the thing. Yes, they're planning, they're competent. It's not like they brought in a whole new bunch of people to do this stuff. The companies have the same people working for them. The companies have the same people pumping out vaccines. The companies have the same formulas and everything's the same. So it's like I don't know what they thought they were going to do that was so incredibly different from what was already happening. The company still got to make the vaccines and send them to wherever they got to send them. So who knows? Anyway, let's move on. And I know this is a shocker to you. Twitter employees heavily favored Biden over Trump ahead of priceless ban. I don't even know why they wrote this article. All I can say is, duh. Oh yeah, Crowder's back. Yeah. Oh, Crowder's trailer for coming back to YouTube is very good. It's a spoof on 300. Really, really well done. Go check out Stephen Crowder's channel. President Biden was the clear favorite of Twitter employees when it came to campaign donations during the 2020 election cycle. Oh, shocker. Twitter employees and their immediate family members donated $193,443 to the Biden campaign compared to $3,023 to the Trump campaign, record shows. Why? This is an article where you could go, I could write this article without even looking it up. But, yeah, anyway, hilarious. Enough of that. New Republican stimulus bill would cost, the Republicans came to Biden with a kind of a counter bill, and their bill would cost $600 billion as opposed to $1.9 trillion. But includes more direct checks. What to know? The coronavirus stimulus package proposed by a group of Senate Republicans as an alternative to President Biden's would cost $600 billion and include direct payments targeted to families in need. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican of Louisiana, said Sunday Biden unveiled his proposal, $1.9 trillion with a T, coronavirus stimulus package earlier in January. Cassidy claimed that Biden did not even try to work with this bipartisan group of senators, colloquially known as the Sweet 16. Oh, great. We got, what was the old one they used to talk about all the time? The Gang of 4 or Gang of 8 or some bullshit. Now it's the Sweet 16. Sweet. I was trying to do that little dude in the Dr. Pepper commercial. Hey, by the way, here's a good question. This is a trivia question. Who can tell me the guy that plays Little Sweet in the Dr. Pepper commercials? Who is he and what is he famous for? What is his name and what is he famous for? Good morning, TC Ball. The president's team did not reach out to anybody in our group, either Democrat or Republican, when they fashioned their proposal. Cassidy told Fox News Sunday, if you want unity, if you want bipartisanship, you ought to start with the group that's shown it's willing to work together for a common solution. They did not. Anyway, you know what? Every time I hear about the stimulus and the relief package and whatever, I just... my brain just turns to mush. I'm sorry. I see, of course, I never got the first stimulus checks, so we're still waiting for that. And we just figured out we had to do something because last year my taxes were late. And so they finally figured out, very good, Somerville Nation. It is Justin Guarini, who came in second place on the very first American Idol. That's the guy who plays Little Sweet, the guy with the kind of reddish afro guy that, you know, they wanted to make Kelly Clarkson, Justin Guarini be a couple thing. Yeah, that's who it is. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh damn, that is him, isn't it? They just got him made up differently. Anyway, so we'll see what happens with the stimulus crap. Who cares? If you get a check, great. If you don't, yeah, whatever. Apparently Asian Americans are not happy with Joe Biden either. Apparently they seem a little miffed because Joe Biden, Asian American activists blast Biden's pandering anti-racism order. Good. Activists said that President Joe Biden ignored the actual concerns of Asian Americans when he signed a pandering executive order against anti-Asian coronavirus rhetoric that failed to mention affirmative action policies that discriminate against Asians. Biden signed an order to combat, quote, racism, xenophobia, and intolerance against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. On Tuesday, the order, which requires federal agencies to fight anti-Asian racism and promote sensitivity towards the Asian community in their pandemic response, was met with skepticism by some activists. Kenny Xu, an activist and author of an upcoming book, an inconvenient minority, called the order mere lip service aimed at progressives. I can see this whole issue of code racism being used as a way to satiate Asian American victimhood mentality, as you said. At the same time, the order is not addressing some real policy-based issues that Asian Americans face on a practical and actionable level. Xu said that Xu and other activists worry that despite its pro-Asian American rhetoric, the Biden administration will undo some of Trump's White House initiatives to combat anti-Asian racism. Because Joe Biden is executive ordering anything Trump did out of existence. That's true. And Trump had his what was it when he was trying to say that they shouldn't discriminate against Asians and getting into schools? Yeah, because they are. Oh, we're sorry. There's too many of you smart Asians here. We're not going to accept some of you, so we can let some people who are not as qualified in, white and black and Hispanic people, because too many Asians here. Chief among their concerns was the issue of affirmative action, which critics say rejects qualified Asian candidates to make room for other minority groups at elite institutions. Biden is a lifelong supporter of affirmative action, except for busing, while Vice President Kamala Harris backed a California referendum to overturn a ban on affirmative action in the University of California system last year. Biden's executive order is an implicit rejection of the Trump administration's use of Wuhan virus and China virus
China is asshole.
When referring to the coronavirus. Trump, however, did not coin the term. Chinese authorities called the virus the Wuhan virus in the initial stages of the pandemic response, but fiercely denounced the nickname after the virus spread overseas. Asian American activists say that the rhetoric surrounding the pandemic is the least of their concerns. To be quite frank, I think this is the least of our worries, said Isaac Yee, a member of the Young Asian Pacific American Leaders Group. I think the executive order was just a form of pandering to the Asian community. Oh, you think? Duh. All right. So that was I'll call that the Gunfox series, because those are all some articles Gunfox provided in the Discord. There's lots more articles that is there every day. If you want to find very well chosen list of news stories, check out our Discord server, which is administered by Gunfox61, who is in the chat as we speak. All right, let's keep going, because I am running out of time. Some of these I'll go into, some I won't, because I realized how precious my time is here as far as what I have left. Oh, what the hell's going on here? Hang on. Let me see if I can move this article so you can see it. That would be good. This one, hard facts driving impeachment falling apart. Oh! So, we have this impeachment thing coming up, and is it next week? I'm not even sure when the hell it is. But hard facts are driving impeachment are beginning to fall apart. President Trump was impeached no less in the waning days of his presidency for supposedly starting a riot at the Capitol. But it started to look less and less culpable for what his enemies claim. So remember the pipe bombs? Remember those? They're trying to say, oh, those pipe bombs were set that day, blah, 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 blah. Well, hello, Fight for Your Rights. Oh, that's very kind. Can't go wrong with P. Dizzle every morning. Right on. Thank you. I appreciate that. The pipe bombs planted by rioters intended to distract police forces ahead of the January 6th rally Trump spoke at, well, it turns out that they were planted on January 5th, according to the FBI, according to Hill. The FBI released a new wanted poster on Friday revealing that two pipe bombs that were placed near the Democratic and Republican Party headquarters and discovered during the Capitol riots on January 6th were planted the night before.
Wow.
This pretty much makes the leftist impeachment premise about Trump inciting a riot now kind of a joke. The case for treason, and more specifically, incitement to riot, which is the single charge upon which President Trump was impeached in the House, is now a lot harder to justify in the Senate, which votes yes or no on whether to convict. How exactly does one incite a mob to march and riot into the Capitol when the operation was already set up by the wretched riot mind plotters the night before? Almost like the right-wing Antifa. Not really. And also, who've since been caught? Is the responsibility on Trump, or is the responsibility on those who planned it in advance, snuck into some target locations and laid some pipe bombs down in a known bid to distract the police, and then executed the Capitol incursion of January 6th out of love of creating chaos? For the left, it's always Trump. Now leftists are starting to look like losers. This is obviously editorialized, but this latest egg in their face comes on the heel of other revelations, such as this one put out by John Solomon's Just the News. Here it is. As Senate Democrats mull their options for convicting or censuring Trump and banning him from future public office for allegedly inciting insurrection, experts said their incitement case against him was dealt a severe blow this week when federal prosecutors charged 3 men in the Capitol attack, alleging their communication and coordination dated back to November. For speech to meet the threshold of incitement, a speaker must first indicate a desire for violence and second, demonstrate a capability or reasonable indication of capability to carry out violence, according to Kevin Brock, former assistant director of intelligence for the FBI. In Trump's case, Brock said there were neither. In an interview Thursday, Brock told Just the News he listened to Trump's entire January 6th speech. I didn't hear a single word about or anything that would trigger a reasonable person to believe he was inciting violence, he said. He even used the words peaceful and respectful. Brock thinks that Trump was caught by surprise by what happened and was probably unaware of the segment of the crowd intent on violence. That was a failure, frankly, on the intelligence that he should have been provided as president of the United States, Brock said. We should be in a position where knuckleheads like Proud Boys and Oath Keepers can plan a disruptive, violent event and it catches us by surprise. Now, I don't know there's any evidence the Proud Boys had anything to do with it. A couple might have been there. I don't know that there's any evidence the Oath Keepers had anything to do with it. Some might have been there, but I guess we're going to find out. But the idea that they're impeaching Trump for this is almost silly. Plus, the term incitement, again, has a legal meaning that is not being met. Also, Senator Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley are facing a secretive Senate Ethics Committee panel. Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, and Senator Ted Cruz will have to appear in front of a secretive Senate ethics panel, according to Politico, over allegations the two senators played a role. This one's hilarious to me. Played a role in inciting the violent Capitol attack by objecting to certify presidential electors from several key states. Now, think about this. How exactly do they play a role in inciting the Capitol attack when the vote in which they objected to the electors took place after the Capitol attack? How's that work? Anybody? The Senate Ethics Committee, which Politico describes as one of the most secretive committees in Congress, will review the cases against both Hawley and Cruz after several leading Democrats made official ethics complaint to committee head Senator Chris Coons on January 21st. The group complained that while Congress was debating Senator Cruz's objection to certifying specific electors, a violent mob stormed the Capitol. Oh, wait a minute. While they were debating it? But how could that have incited the mob? The mob was already storming the Capitol. Just curious, although it does not appear either Cruz or Hawley made reference to the attacks, nor that either had prior knowledge of plans to storm the United States Capitol and disrupt the Senate's business. And 7 complainants, including Mazie Hirono, oh my God, dork from Hawaii, Dick Blumenthal, Mr. Stolen Valor, claimed that by merely proceeding with their objections to the electors after the violent attack, Senator Cruz and Hawley lent legitimacy to the mob's cause and made future violence more likely. Well, we have no evidence of that either, do we? Is this fucking, what's that show with Tom Cruise? Something where they guess your crimes in the future. I can't, now I'm blanking out. I know somebody will put it in the chat. Sorry. That's ridiculous. Moving on, legal insurrection. A speech as incitement case against Trump continues to crumble. This is also about the pipe bombs. Just another story. So you can look that up, why that is, this has more legal, kind of more legal justification why that it makes it even harder for what they're doing. Thank you, Minority Report, Infamous One. And hello, Infamous One. Nice to see you. All right, so we already got the gist on that, but there's just another article you can read. Trump's entire impeachment trial defense team has left him. He does have a new defense team, but this is his old one. Decided to leave a little more than a week before Donald Trump's second impeachment trial set to begin February 8th. All 5 attorneys who had been serving on his impeachment defense team have parted ways with the former president. The decision was said to have been mutually agreed upon. Legal briefs are due this week before the trial begins, a week from Monday. It's hard to see how Trump could possibly mount an adequate defense before the trial. He just needs more time. I don't think he needs more time at all. The idea, well, okay, so the legal briefs are due. Oh, maybe preparing the legal briefs, but it ain't going to take a whole lot of defense on this. First of all, 45 senators have already voted that it's unconstitutional to do this anyway. But anyway, otherwise, the Democrats risk the charge of not giving Trump a chance at any notion of a fair trial. According to CNN, Butch Bowers and Deborah Barbier, who are expected to be 2 of the lead attorneys, are no longer on the team. A source familiar with the changes said it was a mutual decision for both to leave the legal team. As the lead attorney, Bowers assembled the team. Josh Howard, a North Carolina attorney who was recently added to the team, has also left, according to another source familiar with the charges. Johnny Gasser and Greg Harris of South Carolina are no longer involved in the case either. No other attorneys have announced they are working with Trump on Trump's impeachment defense. Oh, contraire, because now he does have new people. Donald Trump announces new impeachment legal team. Former President Donald Trump announced his new impeachment defense team on Sunday, hours after his previous legal team disbanded. The initial team reportedly disbanded on Sunday, leaving Trump without representation in his second impeachment trial. The new lawyers, David Schoen and Bruce Castor, have experience representing individuals in Trump's circle, including Roger Stone. Trump's Sunday night press release described Schoen as a seasoned trial attorney who has served as lead counsel in several high-profile matters. Castor is the former district attorney of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Now, the first team reportedly quit due to Trump's insistence that they argued the 2020 election was stolen rather than focus on the constitutionality of Trump's impeachment. Why not both? I'm just saying. And also the fact that I think they should just fight the charge incitement to insurrection. That's the dumbest charge they could have thought of. That's just designed to lose Democrats, but that's all they had. Anyway, so he has a new legal team. Let's okay, I'm gonna do a couple more, and then we're gonna finish with the one story I wanted to make sure I got in today for American History Month. Now the new attorneys already. The left is already going after Trump's new attorneys because anyone who associates with Trump deserves to be destroyed. Leftists are trying to destroy Trump's new attorneys. The Senate farcical impeachment trial of former President Trump is set to begin on February 9th. Farcical or not, Trump is entitled to be represented by attorneys of his choice, a right inherent in every American called upon to face a judicial body in America. The Democratic Party, however, no longer recognizes that right for Trump or anyone associated with him. Activists are working to destroy completely the two new attorneys who have stepped up to defend Trump. Over the weekend, news broke that the attorneys Trump had lined up for his impeachment trial had quit. The problem was apparently over strategy. So CNN reported, okay, we already did this. The legal team reportedly intended to focus on the legality of convicting the president after they left office, and Trump wanted them to talk about election fraud. Again, I say, why not both? But anyway, both sides make sense. As an attorney, if I have a clear shot at a procedural dismissal, I'm taking it. 45 Republican senators have already announced that they believe it's unconstitutional for the Senate to hold an impeachment trial for a private citizen. But anyway, the bigger part here is people are already going after the new lawyers. According to Alexander Muse on Twitter, Democrats are waging a war against two lawyers who are rumored to be representing President Trump in the Senate impeachment trial. Reportedly, Alabama lawyer David Schoen and Pennsylvania lawyer Bruce Castor selflessly took the president's call and agreed to defend him. As a result, it's being reported that Boston College Law School, Columbia University Law School, Washington and Lee University are already facing calls from wealthy Democrat alumni to withdraw Schoen and Castor's law degrees. Are you fucking kidding me? Additionally, the clerk of the Supreme Court of the U.S. has also received demands that Schoen and Castor be removed from the Supreme Court bar. The Scottish Rite is also under pressure to expel Castor, a 33rd degree Mason, from their ranks. Even his church, Abington Presbyterian Church, is being asked to excommunicate the lawyer. Are you kidding me? For doing their damn job. Also, the Alabama Civil Liberties Union is under pressure to remove Schoen from their board, as is the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Apparently, he's on the board of both of those. I have lists. Oh, SLCC, not SCLC, not Southern Poverty Law Center. Every American deserves rigorous and robust defense. The effort by Democrats and the disgraced Lincoln Project is an assault on democracy. Well, no, it's an assault on just decency. It has nothing to do with our democracy. Irony alert, the president, Democrats called a racist and a Nazi, is being represented by a Democratic Jewish civil rights lawyer from Alabama who is on the board of the ACLU. There are actually honorable Democrats. I'll tell you what, this shit pisses me off. I'm sorry. First of all, you're going to ask them to take away their law degrees? How? For what purpose? They're practicing law. Everyone deserves an attorney. Jesus Christ, I hate these people. Did I use the word hate? That's very strong. And Kamala Harris has gone to West Virginia and Arizona and gone on local TV trying to put pressure on Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Whether Harris interviews were designed to pressure... She went and interviewed on their local television stations. From Fox News, whether the Harris interviews were designed to pressure Manchin or Sinema into backing the American Rescue Plan was not immediately clear. Because both Manchin and Sinema had already said that they will not, one, try to change filibuster rules, and will not vote to expand the Supreme Court out of politics. I'm sorry, if that happens, that's just some bullshit, political bullshit to me. Anyway, you can read that story on your own because I'm going to keep going here. Just another story of unity regarding COVID aid. I'm going to leave that. Let's finish with what I'm going to finish with today. Just a couple of quick headlines before I do. Biden's embrace of equity means he's abandoned the quest for equality. If you noticed in some of these executive orders, particularly ones regarding civil rights, Joe Biden has been talking about equity. Now, the difference between when Democrats or leftists use the word equity, what they're talking about is the difference between equality of opportunity versus the equality of outcome. And right now, if you notice, just listen carefully when they talk about this, they keep talking about equity. That's basically, to me, it's kind of a dangerous thought process, because it kind of leads to just basically it's kind of a communist concept. I'm sorry, or Marxist concept. So just I'll leave this article here. You can check that one out when you get a chance. Also, I don't know if you heard this. The Biden administration just hired Peter Strzok's wife to be a top official in the Securities and Exchange Commission. Oh, good Lord. Allison Heron-Lee, Melissa Hodgman, to lead the agency as its acting director of the Division of Enforcements last week. Fan-fucking-tastic. That article's in there also. Let's see. We'll get to this one. I'm actually going to get to this one tomorrow, so I'm going to skip it. Just an article about how people pretending to do journalism are mounting pressure campaigns to silence conservative media, particularly CNN, trying to get rid of Fox News. And Oliver, if you know who Oliver Darcy is, he's kind of a smarmy prick too. He and Brian Stelter trying to shut down, just by saying bad things about conservative media, trying to get it shut down by other places. So we're going to leave that there. Let's see. I don't know if I got to this one Friday or not, but remember when Maxine Waters had her little thing out there in California, and she was talking to people, talking about how people, if you see somebody from the Trump administration in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out there and create a crowd. You push back on them and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. Well, a Twitter account called Cuomo Watch, when it was revealed that Andrew Cuomo was kind of fudging the numbers on how many old people he killed in nursing homes, this account did this. I'll show this one to you because it's funny as hell. They did this. If you see anybody from the Cuomo administration in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and create a crowd. You push back on them and tell them that they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. Maxine Cuomo Watch. Well, apparently the Democratic Party of New York lost their minds over this. Until someone had to look. Here it is. Someone here. This is appalling and dangerous. Encouraging violence must never be tolerated. Shame on whoever's behind this kind of garbage. This is beyond outrageous. 2 weeks ago, we saw it happen when arsonists throw gas around. Twitter should ban this dude now. This is dangerous, reprehensible, and has no place in any public discussion. Oh, and spare me, someone else did it too, excuse. Someone else saying a variation of this doesn't change the fact that this is seeking to incite violence against a public official and their staff. Hey, dipshits. Those were verbatim Maxine Waters' words. They just put a different name in there instead of Cuomo. And even afterwards, though, they're still bitching about it. But anyway, hilarious. We're going to skip that. That's for another day. But these tabs, there's a couple more articles in the tabs. But I wanted to get to our finish today. Since it is American History Month, I want to talk to you about a little bit about a man named Eugene Bullard. And this is what we'll finish up with. Eugene Bullard is probably a name you've never heard, probably because he was a pilot, but he didn't fly for the United States, although he was an American. The first African-American combat pilot was a hero in France, but forgotten in the USA. Eugene Jacques Bullard may have been the 6,950th French military pilot to earn his wings during World War I, but he's remembered as history's very first African-American aviator. The 21-year-old volunteer graduated from flight training on May 5th, 1917, after spending more than 12 harrowing months fighting in the French army on the Western Front, one of nearly 300 U.S. citizens to serve in France's burgeoning Air Corps prior to America's entry into the war. Bullard was eventually assigned to the famous Lafayette Flying Corps. During his career as a fighter pilot, the Georgia native reportedly brought down 2 German aircraft. However, these victories may remain unconfirmed. Although never earning the distinction of ace, Bullard won many of his adopted country's highest military decorations, including the Légion d'honneur and the Médaille Militaire and the Croix de Guerre. After the war, he would become close friends with flying legend Charles Nusserand, and jazz luminary Louis Armstrong. Yet despite his acclaim in France, Bullard received virtually no recognition in America. Worse, after returning to the U.S. as a wounded combat veteran and an aviation trailblazer, he died penniless in obscurity. Bullard, who was part Creek Indian, knew the sting of racism at a young age. One of 10 children, he claimed to have seen his father set upon by a mob of whites and almost lynched. Upon reaching his teens, young Eugene left behind a life of racial segregation and hopped a transatlantic steamer bound for Europe. He eventually landed in Paris, where he made a living as a prize fighter. Within weeks of Germany's 1914 invasion of France, Bullard enlisted. Like other non-French volunteers, he was assigned to a Foreign Legion regiment, where he served with distinction as a machine gunner in action at Picardy, Artois, and Champagne. During 1915, his 2,300-man unit was decimated, suffering more than 50% casualties. Still standing, Eugene was transferred to the celebrated 170th Infantry Regiment and sent to the Battle of Verdun. Wounded in the opening weeks of the epic 10-month clash, Bullard was pulled from the line to recuperate. In October 1916, Bullard signed on with the French Air Service and began flight training. By the following year, he was piloting Spads and Nieuports and with the 93rd Escadrille against German warplanes over the Verdun sector. A capable aviator, Eugene quickly earned the nickname the Black Swallow of Death, an homage to his former regiment, the 170th, known as Les Hirondelles de la Mort. Heralded as one of the only black pilots of the war, and decorated one at that, he enjoyed considerable notoriety in the French press. Following America's entry into the war, Bullard applied for a transfer to the nascent U.S. Flying Corps that was assembling in France. Despite his ample combat experience, the American military rejected him on the basis of his race. Eugene continued to fly with the French Air Service, but was eventually returned to the infantry after striking a superior officer while on leave. He served out the war in the rear echelon with his old unit, the 170th. Following the armistice, Bullard worked as a jazz drummer in the popular Parisian nightclub. Later, he opened his own tavern. He named it Les Escadrilles in reference to his wartime flying. Jazz legends and celebrities alike frequented the club. In the 1920s, Bullard married into a wealthy French family and had 2 children. The marriage ended in 1935. In 1939, Eugene offered his services to France again, this time recording the comings and goings of his nightclub's German patrons. When Hitler's panzers rolled into France in May of 1940, the middle-aged Bullard again answered the call. He joined the French army in time to see action, but was grievously wounded in the defense of Orleans. As the country fell to the Nazis, Bullard was evacuated to Spain and eventually repatriated to the United States. Still recovering from his injuries, Bullard scratched out a meager living during the war as a peacetime salesman and night watchman. Few in America knew of or seemed to care about his legendary exploits. After the Second World War, he was offered compensation from the French government for his lost business and injuries, but he remained in New York with his children. In 1949, Bullard was more than a dozen people attacked by a mob at Peekskill, New York, while waiting to get into Paul Robeson's concert. a Paul Robeson concert. Robeson was considered a communist sympathizer at the time. Footage of 54-year-old Bullard being beaten by 2 police officers was even captured on film. In 1954, Bullard briefly returned to France for the 40th anniversary of the First World War. He received a hero's welcome. For his service, Bullard was named to the Legion of Honor and was made a guest at the French military commemoration. In his final years, Bullard worked as an elevator operator in Manhattan. He died of stomach cancer in 1961 at the age of 66. Eventually, Bullard's life story was recognized in the United States when he became the subject of a 1972 biography entitled The Black Swallow of Death. His contribution to aviation was later formally acknowledged too. In 1994, the United States Air Force granted Bullard an honorary commission of second lieutenant. While Eugene Bullard was remembered for being one of the first African-American fighter pilots in history, he isn't the first black combat aviator. That honor goes to Ahmet Ali Selektin of the Ottoman Air Service. Born in 1883 in Izmir, Turkey, to African parents, Ahmet joined the Turkish Navy in 1904. 4 years later, he went to the Naval Academy and was made an officer. In 1914, he enrolled in flight school and became a pilot in the Ottoman Air Corps in 1916 and certified aviator before Bullard. Details of Selektin's record as a combat flyer was unclear. So, anyway, there you go. In my eyes, Americans lost the right to call this American history. This is French. Now, he's an American, so I'm going for he's an American, and to me, American history includes Americans. So there's a picture of that's Ali Ahmet. Here's Bullard back when he was in the French Army Air Corps. So that's it for today, people. Time for me to go. I appreciate you coming by. If you haven't done so already, before you go, hit the like button on the way out. And if you ever want to do donations, you can do that through the Streamlabs link or through Super Chat, Venmo, Cashapp, description down below. Also, share the stream. If you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here. And thanks everyone who's here today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you had fun in the chat. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I don't know the GMT. And and I have a guest coming a week from Friday. I'll tell you about that later. And maybe I'll have one this Friday, but I definitely have one next Friday. And I'm going to try to have a guest every Friday from here on out if I can, just depending on scheduling. So I'll do my best. Anyway, thank you so much. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.